Hello YouTube, it's your boy the Passport Bro Wingman coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is I'm 70 Passport Bros. Can I still get a beautiful foreign chick? Yes you can, Passport Bros, we winning. And this video, I wanted to do a little bit more of a positive video. I know some of the other videos had somewhat of a negative twist on them. And a lot of times they've been addressing like haters and that kind of thing. So I wanted to take the time to at least address some of our wins and kind of speak to them. And the way I came about this video was I would just sometimes I'm on YouTube and a variety of different videos will pop into my into like the queue and I'll check it out. So anyway, this video came off of there's a channel called Roger and Isme, and it's a Filipino woman, and then she does interviews with it looks like different couples and that kind of thing. So anyway, she was interviewing a foreign couple in which a Filipina had married a man with about I believe like a 38-year age difference. So the couple's name is Jessa and John. Jessa currently right now is 35 years old, and John is 73 years old. And they've been together for 14 years. 14 years. And even though he's partially going bald, you can kind of see you see all the gray in his hair. His looks have faded a little bit. You can still see that in spite of that, the woman is madly still in love with him. Madly still in love with him after 14 years of marriage. And when she met him, she was only 21 years old. He was 60 years old. He was 60 years old. She was only 21 years old. And I say that to say that, a lot of times there's some guys that may have had, a divorce, or maybe they didn't learn about, Passport Bros or traveling until they got older, and they're kind of thinking, well, maybe it's too late for me. Maybe I should just stick to the U.S. and deal with the women here. I'm too old for that kind of thing. That Passport Bro thing, that's for y'all young guys. And I'm here to tell you and inspire you to say, no, it's not just for the young guys. It's for everybody, for all ages. Anybody above 18 years old, all the way up to your 40s, 50s, 60s, and even now, even your 70s, if you want to, you can still travel and still get beautiful young women. And also one of my other videos, I mentioned another guy. His name was Mark, and he was on 90 Day Fiance, and he had married a woman by the name of Nikki. And at the time, he was 58 years old, and she was 19 years old. And they had been together for about, I believe, like 6 years before like the marriage had finally broke up for like a variety of different reasons. But the whole point is, when you see the photo in one of my other videos, you can see that Mark, he kept himself in shape. He dyed his hair, did everything to, try to keep his looks up the best he can. And the woman was madly in love with him. They had a very, very great relationship. You can watch, 90 Day Fiance. You can see them interacting. And I say that to say that, a lot of times, sometimes you get a lot of hate from like American women, especially about older guys dating younger women. And they always try to put shame on you and try to make it as if those women weren't going to be interested. But I say all that to say that if you're, in the Philippines, a huge age gap is not it's not really shunned. Really, in that country, I would say out of all the other countries, it's more acceptable than the others. From what I had heard, I think, and they were saying in Ukraine about like a 12-year difference is okay. Probably a little bit, depending on your looks, maybe you could probably go about 15 years or more. And then I think in South America, it's probably the same range. But I beg to differ only because there's a channel called Tailor Made Dreams, and and this is another Passport Bro, and he spent his time in the Dominican Republic. And I remember one of his videos, he was there. His girlfriend there was 28 years old. He was 58 at the time. 58. She's 20. He was 58. She was 28. It's about a 30-year difference, and they did very well together. He has nothing but good things to say about her. I have to catch on him lately because he actually he's now headed to Thailand, but I have to find out more about the whole situation. But from what I had heard from, he used to tell us all types of stories about her cooking for him, giving him massages. They just had a wonderful relationship. And I also said it to say that, a lot of times people would think that just being with women is all about looks and that kind of thing. And while looks, I would say, are somewhat important, I'm not going to deny that looks won't help you. They won't help you get your foot in the door. But I say all this to say that with foreign women, it's not just about your looks. It's also about how you treat a woman. Are you a man of stable means? Like I said, are you, are you somewhat of a gentleman? Are you a family man? All these things are going to kind of count, and they score major points with foreign women versus the United States. A lot of times, your kindness, your gentleman attitude is looked at as just being a nice guy and being too boring. Versus in these other countries, they truly appreciate you being that way, and there's various reasons for this. Keep in mind that, as I mentioned in some other videos, the reason why a lot of people in some of these countries are poor is because, for example, there's a lot of violence in the countries, and what happens is they have to move from city to city sometimes to get away from the violence. And a lot of times what happens is they move to a city where they have no family, they have no friends there. Sometimes they find work, they have to move away from their family, go to a completely different city. They're not in contact with their family members. I've met girls who have family in Venezuela, but they're living in Bogota, Colombia, Medellin, Colombia. They're there by themselves, so they have no one there. So when they meet you and you're warm, you're friendly, you're considerate, you're texting them throughout the day, hey, how you doing, what's going on, they're video calling you without the date. They really appreciate it because they really enjoy having some additional friendship, especially from the opposite sex, especially from their men. So you calling them and following up to them is not looked at as creepy or overbearing or needy versus the United States, where the women are kind of spoiled with male attention. You doing these kind of things would kind of be, I hate to say it, like for a lot of them, they would look at it as a turnoff, or you're desperate, or you're needy, or they kind of would look at you as maybe like you're not that attractive. But it's actually the opposite in South America and Southeast Asia. And now of course, any guy would know you don't want to be overbearing or over needy to anybody. And that's just not even with women. I'm sure some friends that, call you too much, hang out with you. Sometimes, put it this way, humans in general need their own personal space. So you still have to give people space. You still got to know boundaries. But what I am saying is that in comparison to American women, you will find out that you being, affectionate and considerate and polite, it goes a long way with a lot of the women there. And then keep in mind that a lot of women come from like humble beginnings. They have to work very, very hard to survive, which means they have to be involved in a lot of customer service jobs. And I don't know if any of you have ever worked in customer service. The people there can be very rude and mean. And a lot of these women are working these jobs and they have no family support there. Their family is far away from them. So they can appreciate a guy who's very polite, that they're attracted to, and they appreciate you being gentle with them and taking them out to places and treating them. And as I said before, it's not so much about you whining and dining them or spending money on them. They can truly appreciate the simple things. Keep in mind that the men there, they don't have that much money in general, so they're not necessarily going out to the fanciest restaurants. They find a little local spot here that the locals go to, and they treat the women there. So what I'm saying is, it's not so much about where you're taking them, although it will score you points. I'm not gonna say it will not, but they're more into they're more into the chemistry that you have with them. Do you guys have a chemistry? Does she feel comfortable with you? Are you guys attracted to one another? Those things are a little bit more important than necessarily the fancy place you're going to and that kind of thing. Now, of course, she's going to be very appreciative if you take her to some of these spots because her family doesn't necessarily have the money for her to go out to these spots. A lot of times they just see foreigners going to these spots, but they're not able to. So when she meets you, and not only that, but you're willing to open yourself up to her and take her out to nice places, she can really, really get into a guy like that, really get into you. And it's easy to form a really really nice bond. And the other thing is you got to consider is that a lot of the women, overseas, the men there in these countries, and I don't want to down talk men in general, but they're kind of spoiled. A lot of things they're kind of catered to the men. There's a lot of services, bars, and all types of things that cater to men there. So men are generally sexually satisfied, and then also in many cases because you don't have all these government programs, public housing, food stamps, Section 8, all these food kitchens. You don't have all this stuff going on. So a lot of times the people have to kind of fend for themselves. So and unemployment in these countries is very high. So I say that to say that a man there that has of means, even just the guy who's out selling melons, that kind of thing, that guy has a little bit of value. He has somewhat of high value there because there's not much employment going on. He owns his own business, even though he's not making that much, but he can do a lot for some of the women there. So even that guy kind of has his pick of the litter. So that being said, a lot of times the guys there are spoiled. I'm not gonna say, I don't want to say all of them treat the women badly, but what I'm saying is sometimes they can take them for granted, and a lot of women kind of feel it. So when American men come there, us being the opposite, being taken for granted by a lot of American women, being curbed by a lot of women, women using us like a la carte. One woman has you fixing her car while this other guy is blowing her back out, has done nothing for her. So we kind of have, kind of the opposite of what the women have there, is in that we also have been taken for granted. So it's kind of a perfect fit. We've been taken for granted in our country by the women here. They've been taken for granted in their country by the men there. So when we meet up, it's like it's almost a perfect fit. We can truly appreciate the women in these countries. A better way to put it is the Chad and Tyrones in our countries will be similar to a trust fund baby. Trust fund babies, they get a certain amount of money, they start their businesses. Starting any type of business and having money is always good, but it's different on the other hand, where the other men, we had to get it out of the mud. We had to really work hard to get any type of, we had to work hard to have any type of play in the States, and especially with us putting together money, finding ways to work remotely, finding ways to make money overseas. We really had to get it out of the mud. So when we get overseas, we can truly appreciate the experience of not only being overseas, but the women as well. Because we had to, we remember being sidelined by a lot of the women by a lot of the spoiled women in America, taking us for granted. So when we meet these women, it's just like, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's like coming out of the desert and finally getting like that cold glass of water. It's just very soothing. So me personally, I just wanted to speak a lot on this and just say that this and I wanted to leave a link to the video to John and Justice so that you can see it. There's a lot of people talking about what you guys got receipts, where your receipts at. So we got a receipt right here. Here's a receipt right here of a guy. He's 73. His wife is 35. There's a 38-year gap. He met her when she was 21. He was about 60 at the time. And I'm also going to leave a photo of Mark and Nikki as well. Mark is 58 in the photo, and Nikki is 18 years old. And that's only two of the couples. There's a few other couples on 90 Day Fiancé as well. It's a pretty great show. You should check it out. But but this is definitely a win for the Passport Bros. So I will say this to any guy that's listening. If you are in your late 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, do not be afraid to go out and travel. In fact, I encourage you to do so. You will definitely not regret it. Even for guys who are like, 18, 19, 20, in your 20s, your 30s, and you're thinking about going out there and getting your passport and then traveling to the DR, traveling to Brazil, traveling to the Philippines, to Thailand, I would say whatever little, thoughts or like fears you have, put that to the side. I need you to take that leap, and I feel that you're definitely you definitely will not regret it. Just do your research about safety, that kind of thing. But other than that, you will not regret it. You will definitely be changed once you land on the soil and you meet not just the women but the culture there. And once you see how other societies run outside of America, you're going to be completely changed, and you're going to look at Western countries completely different. Whether you come from the UK, Canada, you're going to look at this completely different. I definitely encourage you to do that. So yeah, so this is a win for the Passport Bros. And so you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Please, leave your comments. Please hit the notification bell. Please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, this is the Passport Bro Wingman signing off.